Hello everybody and welcome to another D&D discussion video. Today I'm going to be going over the Fighter Class 2024 Player's Handbook levels 1 through 20. If you enjoy this video and you want to see any other videos about this, go check out my playlist and make sure to hit the subscribe button. Now let's get into it. Same thing with all the other classes. I'm using D&D Beyond to go through all of the class features, and so when you go to the classes, just go ahead and click Fighter and add class. And again, levels 1. And we're gonna go all the way down and go to level 20. At level 1, we have core fighter traits. Now the core fighter traits, your primary ability will be strength or dexterity. This is one of the only ones where the primary ability will maybe be different based off of your intended playstyle. Your hit point die is 1d10 per fighter level. Your saving throw proficiencies is strength and constitution. Your skill proficiencies, you get to choose 2 between acrobatics, animal handling, athletics, history, insight, intimidation, persuasion, perception, or survival. So you got a lot of options there. Weapon proficiencies, you have simple and martial weapons. You can use anything you want to use. Armor training, you get light, medium, and heavy armor and shields. So again, you can use whatever you want. And for starting equipment, again, same thing. You can choose A, B, or C here. You can choose A, which is chainmail, greatsword, flail, 8 javelins, a Dungeoneer's pack, and 4 gold pieces. B is studded leather armor, scimitar, short sword, longbow, 20 arrows, quiver, Dungeoneer's pack, and 11 gold pieces, or 155 gold pieces if you just want to go straight gold route. So what this is basically A is a melee focused fighter. You got that chainmail, you can use heavy armor, you got that great sword, the flail, the javelin in case you need to do something ranged. And then B is more of a range style where you get the studded leather armor, so you get a little bit more mobility with it. Scimitar, short sword, longbow, 20 arrows, all that stuff. So that one is more ranged based. And that distinction is also why your primary ability is strength or dexterity, because strength is for your melee, if you want to go melee route, and dexterity is for your dexterity route. Ranged route uses dexterity. Now, first thing we need to do is choose the fighter skill proficiencies. So I'm gonna go with a standard melee fighter. That's just the most stereotypical fighter. So we're gonna go make a ranged fighter. So I'm gonna go ahead and do athletics and intimidation. Also at first level, you get fighting style, and so you have a bunch of different options, and this affects the way that you play and the way that you fight. In 2024, they are called fighting style feats, and so they're not just normal fighting styles, they're considered feats, but you have access to archery, defense, great weapon fighting, and 2-weapon fighting. And to go over all of these, just to make sure you guys know what they are, archery, you get a +2 bonus to attack rolls you make with ranged weapons, so that works really well with your ranged route. Defense, while you're wearing light, medium, or heavy armor, you gain +1 to your AC, so that's just really nice for anybody, even if you don't have a intended path or fighting style in general. Defense is always nice because as a fighter, you're gonna wear some sort of armor, and so you just get a +1 to your AC. Great weapon fighting, so when you roll damage for an attack you make with a melee weapon that is 2-handed, you can treat any 1 or 2 on a damage die as a 3. And it must have 2-handed or versatile property to gain that benefit. So that's what's really nice if you don't want to use a shield, if you want to use 2-handed weapons and maximize your damage, this is really nice for that. And then last one, we have 2-weapon fighting. When you make an extra attack as a result of using a weapon that has the light property, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the attack if you aren't already adding it to the damage. So 2-weapon fighting basically has it to where if you have 2 weapons and they have to be light, they have to both have the light property. Normally how it works is if you attack with your main hand, that's normal damage, but if you attack with your offhand, you don't add your ability modifier to the roll, whereas this 2-weapon fighting allows you to add that ability modifier to that second hand, so it's basically the same as a main hand. So that's what's really nice if you are going for that kind of style, if you want 2 weapons and just constantly be making, 2 attacks. A lot of times like light weapons are considered with daggers, short swords, light hammers, all of this kind of stuff. So if you want like a little bit more versatility with that, you get options there. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose great weapon fighting. I wanna deal more damage, so I'm choosing great weapon fighting. Again, at first level, you get second wind, which basically says that as a bonus action, you can regain hit points equal to 1d10 plus your fighter level. You can only use it twice. You regain 1 expended use when you finish a short rest, and you gain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. And then your fighter features table will tell you how many more second winds you get as you level up. Last thing, at first level, you get weapon mastery. This is a new thing that all like martial classes get. They get mastery with specific weapons, and you have to choose every long rest. If you would like to change it, you can change it. But every long rest, you can choose a weapon that you have mastery with, and you get a specific type of action or ability or feature that you can do with that weapon. So right now I get 3, and so I'm gonna go through, let's see, what do I start with? If I chose A for my starting equipment, I get a greatsword, a flail, and javelins. So I'm gonna choose those ones because that's what I have. So greatsword, flail, and javelins. So there's flail, which the weapon mastery property is sap, which basically says if you hit a creature with a flail, that creature has disadvantage on its next attack roll before the start of your next turn. There's greatsword, which is graze. If your attack roll with a greatsword misses a creature, you can deal damage to that creature equal to the ability modifier you used to make the attack. And this damage is the same damage type dealt by the greatsword, and it can be increased only by increasing the ability modifier. So, you know, if you have a strength of 18 and that's a +4 ability modifier, you're able to deal 4 damage even though you missed. So that's what's really nice with that, is you can deal damage anyway, regardless if you hit or miss. And then the last one is javelin, which is slow. So if you hit a creature with a javelin and deal damage to it, you can reduce its speed by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. So I like those, I'm good with that. Moving on to second level, I get action surge. On your turn, you can take 1 additional action except the magic action. So you basically have to use it to attack, dash, disengage, dodge, all that kind of stuff. You just can't cast spells with it. And once you use the feature, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. And at level 17, you can use it twice before a rest, but only once on a turn. So you can't stack it and get 3 actions during 1 turn. But this is a staple with fighter because it allows you to potentially, at higher levels, when you get extra attack, you can make 4 attacks in 1 turn, at least, and that is fantastic. You can deal so much damage with it. It's crazy. Also at second level, you get Tactical Mind. When you fail an ability check, you can expend the use of your second wind to push yourself towards success. Rather than regaining hit points, you roll 1d10 and add the number rolled to the ability check, potentially turning it into a success. If the check still fails, this use of second wind isn't expended. So this could be really helpful in non-combat or even combat stuff. So this is kind of like Bardic Inspiration, but a fighter version, where you can just roll a d10 and add the number to the ability check. And you don't have to worry about if it fails, it's not expended. So you might as well do this every time, unless you really want to save it in case you succeed. On anything important, it might as well, you know? Moving on to third level, we have Fighter subclass. Now, again, since I don't have the book, I can only do champion. Pursue physical excellence in combat. A champion focuses on the development of a martial prowess in a relentless pursuit of victory. So also at third level with this subclass, I get improved critical. And so whenever I make an attack roll with a weapon or an unarmed strike, I can now score a critical hit on a 19 or a 20 instead of just a 20. Also at third level, you get remarkable athlete. So thanks to your athleticism, you have an advantage on initiative rolls and strength athletics checks. And immediately after you score a critical hit, you can move up to half your movement speed without provoking opportunity attacks. So again, with that improved critical, you can get a 19 or a 20, and if you get one of those, then you can just move half your movement speed away and not even have to worry about provoking opportunity attacks. At fourth level, you get another weapon mastery. So let's just say I picked up a longbow on my way. So I'm gonna go select longbow, which is slow, again, same thing as the javelin. Also at fourth level, at every class, you get ability score improvement, and let's just go ahead and do ability score improvement instead of a feat, and choose strength. At fifth level, we have extra attack, and here's what I mentioned earlier, where you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn. So this paired with action surge is ridiculous at times because you can make 4 attacks in your turn if you action surge and do this extra attack. Also at fifth level, you get tactical shift. So whenever you activate your second wind with a bonus action, you can move up to half your speed without provoking opportunity attacks. So not only do you get it when you score on a crit, now you can do it whenever you do your second wind. At 6th level, you get ability score improvement, same thing as every other class, so let's dump it into strength. At 7th level, this is a subclass feature from champion, so you get an additional fighting style at 7th level, and so you can go in here and choose whatever you want. So for me, I'm gonna go ahead and do defense because that is something that you cannot go wrong with. A +1 to your AC, you know, I'm always wearing armor, so +1 to AC is always going to be helpful here. At 8th level, you get another ability score improvement, just like any other class. Again, let's go ahead and put it into strength. At 9th level, you get Tactical Master. So when you attack with a weapon whose mastery property you can replace that property with push, sap, or slow property for that attack. So pretty much, you always get push, sap, or slow now at 9th level. So no matter what you have, you get push, sap, or slow. Using this tactically, if you want to try to find weapons that don't have push, slap, or slow, that would work in your favor because then you can use that additional weapon mastery property, but now you get the option to replace that weapon mastery property with push, sap, or slow. So instead of getting like, oh, just only these three options, you can get 4 options that you can do for it. Also at 9th level, you get Indomitable. If you fail saving throw, you can roll it with a bonus equal to your fighting level, and you must use that new roll, and you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. You can use this feature twice before a long rest, starting at level 13, and 3 times before a long rest, starting at level 17. So you do get more uses of these later on, but this is nice because you can just try to re-roll a saving throw if you failed. At 10th level, you get another weapon mastery. So say I picked up a battle axe. I get Topple, and Topple is where you can force the creature to make a Constitution saving throw, which is the DC is 8 plus the ability modifier used to make the attack roll and your proficiency bonus. And on a failed save, they're prone. And when they're prone, you have advantage on attacks against them. So this is nice. You can make them prone, and if you do that on your first attack, then your second attack has advantage because you have extra attack. Also at 10th level, you have Heroic Warrior, which this is also a champion subclass feature as well. So this was only with champion subclass. The thrill of battle drives you toward victory. During combat, you can give yourself heroic inspiration whenever you start your turn without it. And this heroic inspiration, if you've played 5e, the 2014 rules, you'll know that this is just normal inspiration. They've just named it heroic inspiration. And what normal inspiration and heroic inspiration allows you to do is it's a free reroll of your die, of any die roll, pretty much any d20 die roll. So you can just give yourself heroic inspiration if you don't have an inspiration during combat. So every combat, you get 1 inspiration, 1 free reroll that you can use on any d20 check. At 11th level, you get 2 extra attacks. You can attack 3 times instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn, which means if you action surge, you get 6 total attacks, which is crazy. At 12th level, you get, again, ability score improvement like every class. Just do strength. At 13th level, you get studied attacks. So if you make an attack roll against a creature and miss, you have advantage on your next attack roll against that creature before the end of your next turn. So with 3 attacks, this can really come in handy because if you miss on your first attack, then you get advantage on your second attack. So you are pretty good at getting advantage. You have a pretty high chance at getting advantage on one of your attacks. Even if you action surge, you get 6 attacks. So if you miss any of them, that next attack out of those 6 attacks have advantage. 14th level, you get ability score improvement again, just like every other class, so strength it is. At 15th level, this is another champion subclass feature, is superior critical. Now, instead of just a 19 or 20, that's a critical hit. Now you can do 18, 19, or 20 for a critical hit. So you have a much higher chance at hitting a critical hit, which is very nice. At 16th level, you get ability score improvement. Again, Same thing as always, every other class. Let's put it into strength. Also at 16th level, you get weapon mastery, another one. So let's go ahead and scroll through random, and I chose a longsword, so sap. At 18th level, you get survivor, which is another champion feature. A subclass feature. It's the last one. This is what it does. You get defy death, which you have advantage on death saving throws. Also, when you roll an 18 to 20 on a death saving throw, you gain the benefit of rolling a 20 on it. So it's kind of like that superior critical is transferred over to your death saving throws as well. You also get heroic rally. At the start of each of your turns, you gain hit points equal to 5 plus your constitution modifier if you are bloodied and have at least 1 hit point. And like I mentioned in one of the other videos I did, bloodied is when you have less than half of your hit points. So this heroic rally is only when you have less than half your hit points, but it can help keep you alive. So yeah, if you're close to death and you still have 1 hit point, you can heal 5 plus your constitution modifier every turn. At 19th level, you get epic boon, just like every other class. So let's go through and choose an option. For this one, I'm gonna choose boon of irresistible offense, because this kind of plays on the critical hit theme. So increase strength or dexterity score by 1, so we're gonna choose strength. Bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage you deal always ignores resistance. And when you roll a 20 on the d20 for an attack roll, you can deal extra damage to the target equal to the ability score increased by this feat. The extra damage is the same type as the attack type. So if I have a 20, let's just say for instance, a 20 on my strength, I can deal an extra 20 damage to the target whenever I roll a critical hit. That's substantial. And at 20th level, this is ridiculous. You get 3 extra attacks. You can attack 4 times instead of once whenever you take the attack action. So this is, like I said, ridiculous. It's crazy. Whenever you do action surge, you get 8 total attacks at level 20. Which is wild. But that is all for fighter. That is levels 1 through 20. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something. If you want to see any of the other classes I have on my channel, go check out my playlist that I have. If you have any questions whatsoever, just let me know. Put that in the comments below and I'll answer them. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.